Welcome to the channel, everyone. Glad to have you back again. Here's for all my subscribers, and if you're new to the channel, I hope you're gonna subscribe by the end of this. We're gonna have many more exciting videos coming in the future. Here we are at London, and we're gonna fly all around London and check out some of the really marvelous buildings that have been created by the Asobo team and Microsoft. These buildings have been released with Microsoft Flight Simulator Update World 3, and they're pretty cool. So we're taking off actually in the opposite direction, because first we're going to pop out and see Windsor Castle, which is just up there in front of us. You'll be able to see it now in a few seconds. And then at Windsor Castle we're going to spin around, come back, and I'm just going to read off a quick list of the key things we're going to see. You can see some more, obviously, I'm just mentioning a few of them. We're going to turn, we're going to head for Wembley Stadium. Then we're going to head over and stop at the London Eye, taking out our drone camera, where we will get some cool shots of the London Eye, some of the bridges there, place of Westminster, where the House of Lords is. We're going to have a look at Big Ben. And then St. James's Place, the Victoria Memorial, which actually even has her name written in the stone. That's a really great attention to detail there. Then we're going to go to Buckingham Palace, fly over that, then St. Paul's Cathedral. Then you'll see London Bridge, the Sky Garden. We're actually going to go through the Sky Garden and see if they have any plants. Lots of banks. Then we're going to see the O2, and then head over to the National Maritime Museum and land again in London City, and I'm going to try and have it all done in less than 30 minutes. So let's have a look here at Windsor Castle. So we can pop out here in the drone, check out Windsor Castle. It's over 900 years old and still in use today. Some claim it's the oldest still working, still in use castle in the world. I must say the Asobo team have done a really good job on this. It does really look fantastic. This is my third or fourth time going around it, playing around with all the various settings. London is quite a challenge on my graphics setup I have here. But I think I've found the best settings, and we should have pretty smooth video. Now you can see Heathrow straight up there in front of us. That's where we came from. Our airplane is on active pause, waiting in the sky for us. And have a look around here, and we're going to jump inside. I have been practicing with this drone controller, so I hope I'm getting much better at it. Let me know. The attention to detail is really great in here. And the castle is still in use today. So I'm going a little bit fast here with the drone, getting a bit carried away, and slow down and make it through the doorway. There we go. Wasn't terribly elegant, but I did get through the doorway. So I pop out here into the courtyard. They have even included the statues here. That's really cool. I zoom back a little bit here and capture a nice still frame. There we go. There's one picture taken for the virtual holiday snapshot collection. So we fly back up out of the castle, back into our plane, which was happily waiting for us, and we're going to turn here left. But I do plan to make another video in the future, so subscribe and click the notification bell if you want to see the next one. I'm going to try and do a fly of all the sports grounds that have been upgraded in Microsoft Flight Simulator World Update 3, UK and Ireland. After that I would like to do one of all the castles in Update 3, because they really are pretty cool. So you can see Windsor Castle there as we just depart. It looks really nice. I'm trying to make this video in 4K resolution, so you should be able to see things pretty well, I hope. There's our airport, Heathrow. And Wembley Stadium is here slightly to our left. So in order to keep the momentum of the video going, what I'm going to try So here we are coming back towards Heathrow. We're going to come in here and do a touch and go, as it's right in front of us, and it is Heathrow. Why not? So for those of you who are not aviators, a touch and go means that you set up the plane for landing, you come in and you land and you just touch the wheels on the ground. As soon as you're on the ground, you reconfigure the airplane for takeoff by adjusting your trim, raising your flaps and whatever else you need to do. And you give it full power and you take off again. So you actually never stop. And it's a maneuver that a lot of student pilots do as part of their training. It's also something a lot of people just do for fun. Not every airport will allow you to do that, of course, so you do need to ask for permission first. And you do that by requesting the option. So, around about now, or maybe a few seconds earlier, I would have been talking to the tower and I would have requested the option. That means I have the option to stop, taxi off the runway, or the option to just touch the wheels and keep going, depending on other traffic in the area and things like that. They may agree or disagree. And also in some countries you have to pay a landing fee every time you touch. So for example, Germany, they don't really like touch and goes because you need to land and then you need to park your airplane, get out, go up to the office, pay the thing, perhaps do some paperwork, and then go back and take off again. So doing something like this is not always possible there, but there are some airports where it is possible. So that was our touch and go. We landed, we reconfigured the airplane, and we took off again. Now I'm looking at this car park here on the side. There's a lot of cars there. Wow, it really is quite a lot of cars. And of course, as I'm looking to the left, you'll notice the airplane is also drifting to the left. That's why they say, yeah, look where you're going, and when you're landing, look down at the opposite end of the runway, because that's where you want to go. If you start looking around at car parks and things like that, airplane has a tendency to go in that direction. Anyway, now I'm going to try out this autopilot here, see how that's working. I have noticed that the G1000. I was hopeful that it would be fixed with the patch that came with World Update 3, but they haven't fixed any of the issues, so it's still kind of half broken. So the airport looks really cool there. A lot of planes on the ground, none of them moving around. Yeah, it's still that time, 2020, 2021, huh? In these years, the airliners are not putting on a lot of miles on their planes. So Heathrow really does look good in the simulator. And what I've noticed with these autogen buildings here underneath, yeah, the autogen buildings in the suburbs and the countryside, they look really well. They do look really good. But once you get into really built up cities, the autogen buildings don't look that good really, you know. I mean, if you fly around New York or even parts of London, it does look a bit like one of those zombie movies or something. So we're going to ignore that when we fly over London, and we're just going to look at all of the handcrafted points of interest, of which there are a lot more than I have mentioned in my list earlier. Too many to mention, and too many for me to actually know what half of them are, to be honest. A lot of these skyscrapers and buildings have all fancy names. Some of them are banks, some of them are not. That's about as much as I'm going to remember. I'm more interested in castles and palaces and things like that. So here's Wembley in front of us. And I'm going to try and do something interesting here now. In order to keep this video under 30 minutes, I'm okay, just skipping 1 minute there. And then I'm going to set the autopilot here. I'm going to try and set my heading bug to the right direction, if I have calculated this correctly in my planning, to bring me right over from Wembley to the London Eye. So, and while it's doing that, so that's over that way. So in other words, I'm just going to tell the plane, fly over there by yourself, while I pop out in the drone. So now I'm in the drone and the airplane is flying away on autopilot, hopefully in the correct direction. Here's Wembley. So in order to get the buildings a bit smoother with the drone moving around, I did spend a lot of time changing settings, updating firmware, all these kinds of things. I hope it works out and I hope you guys appreciate it. So here we go, Wembley Stadium. And Wembley is written on the seats. So let's drop down in here and have a look. So the grass is really flat. Looks like a golf course green. And there we have all the seats. And Wembley written on the seats here. So quite cool looking around here. I'm a little bit nervous as to where my airplane is right now, flying away there by itself. So let's spin up and have a quick aerial view of Wembley. And then there we go, aerial view, aerial view. Okay, where is my airplane? Let's jump back in. Boom, there we go. And look at that. That was pretty good calculation there. So the bridges look cool. I would name them all out, but I'd probably mix them up, to be honest. So here is the London Eye, which is this big wheel spinning, cool shadows down there. I did reduce the quality of my shadows slightly on the simulator to get a more fluid video here, because the machine is it's actually flying and recording. So you can see the steps there where people get in and people get out. That's really cool. I'm not sure if it spins that fast in real life. Some people might suffer from motion sickness. There's the Big Ben. And here, of course, is the place of Westminster. So, where all the bigwigs hang out. The House of Lords. I'm hazarding a guess that that expression came because a lot of them wore those big white-haired wigs. I could be completely wrong about that, of course. If I am, somebody let me know in the comments below. So hopefully we can fly right over here, have a look down. That's pretty cool. Just avoid the pieces of the building there. And here we have Big Ben in front of us. And it is 11:05. That's actually almost correct. Oh, we have skipped over another famous building there, but so up here we've St. James Place, which is also handcrafted here and looks pretty cool. As are the buildings we just passed over right there. That looks really good. That's really amazing. I say they have done a fantastic job. Just looking at the difference of the handcrafted buildings compared to the autogen buildings. It's really cool. And over here in front of us we have Buckingham Palace. And in front of Buckingham Palace is the Victoria Memorial. And that looks really, really amazing. And actually I can even see Victoria is carved out on the stone. So they have really, really gone full on the details here. You can read it there. Victoria. So that is the Victoria Memorial. Very nice. Here's Buckingham Palace. So now that I'm getting a little bit better with the drone, I'm going to try and just fly straight into it, up and out the other side, and then see if we can spin around it and get a nice aerial view. Here's an idea for Microsoft and the Asobo team. Wouldn't it be great if they left the door open so you could just fly in and then you had like an indoor 360 view? That'd be pretty cool. Oh, I'm getting carried away with my ideas there and almost losing my drone. There's London, so that's a lot of auto-generated buildings. Which, I mean, I'm pretty sure you could recognize the buildings if you knew them. But the palace really does look amazing. Buckingham Palace. It's really cool. So we'll spin around here at the corner where the staterooms are. And the Queen's Gallery is in there on the corner now, which should be at the bottom of your, well, in the middle of your screen, but the closest part of that building to the bottom of your screen, I believe, is the Queen's Gallery. And the staterooms. If I remember correctly. So that is very, very impressive. When you think about it, this is a simulator which is, you know, trying to replicate the entire planet. So they've done a pretty good job. So now let's head back over here, back to where we started with the drone. And this is another very tall, famous building whose name I have forgotten. Sorry about that. And the bridge is there. I guess they had it covered in solar panels for the trains. That's a pretty cool idea. This would be St. Paul's Cathedral, if I am correct. So So let's check out this. This has also been handcrafted. So it's pretty easy to tell which buildings have been handcrafted because, you know, they're kind of a different colour to everything else. A lot of the other buildings are very greyish. St. Paul's Cathedral is very, very well created here in the simulator. If they did all the buildings around it, you'd hardly even realise that you were on a simulator, I guess. So let's fly over here in our drone. So here we have another couple of these famous buildings. Some of the architecture stands out more than others, like this one right here. I must say that is pretty cool. So let's see if I can get my drone right. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. There's London Bridge, which is really cool. I've actually made this video about 4 or 5 times in order to get it right. And the last few times I actually did go through the London Bridge, but let's just go through the gardens here now instead. I'm sure there will be many, many more YouTubers creating a lot of videos. I haven't seen any yet, so maybe this will be the first one of its kind. Here we go. You sit down here and have a sandwich. Plants are pretty cool, so... Oh, don't think we're allowed to fly a drone in there. I just got told to leave. No problem. That wasn't the smoothest descent. So this is pretty cool here. Yeah, the floors actually stop before the top. Here we fly through the London Bridge and out the other side. So we have some more banks and associated business buildings over here. There is a Citibank building and the HSBC there on the left. That's pretty cool. So we take a quick spin over here now to the O2 Arena. I don't think there's any concerts going on here at the moment, but there will be plenty more in the future, I'm sure. So if you're not aware, O2 is a telecom company who either own or sponsor this building, I assume. So that's it. It's a big concert hall and held together with strings. Interesting design. Very nice. Yeah. Looks almost like a net for catching pigeons. I wonder how many they catch. So we skip across the water here. And now, this the National Maritime Museum is here, and several other yeah, that looks really, really nice. And we bring our drone down here, and this is where they took their picture, which is really cool. I might take a picture just here too. Maybe it'll make a good thumbnail for this video. Or maybe I should use Buckingham Palace. Not sure yet. Oh, that is pretty cool. I think there's a statue missing in front of us. Yeah, somewhere around there. Oh, maybe it has been moved. It's been a long time. So let's jump up. And now, trying to keep this under 30 minutes. We're now at 26 minutes, so that gives me 4.5 minutes to get back into the airplane and land. Here we have a nice view of London. And you can see Heathrow Airport in the distance. And if you look carefully, you can also see Windsor Castle way off there in the distance. So, straight in front of us now is London City Airport. Now we jump back in our airplane and we try and land here in London City Airport. So I'm a little bit high because of those buildings, so it's kind of a steep approach. And we've got quite a lot of airspeed as well. But I want to get there quickly because I promised someone I would keep this under 30 minutes. That was my challenge. So we're going to keep it coming in pretty fast. The runway is very long, so I'm not too worried about landing exactly at the start of it. We're just in a Cessna 172 here. And I must say, London looks really, really good with all of these handcrafted buildings and places. If you're a Microsoft's Flight Simulator pilot, then I would suggest coming to London, get your drone out maybe here, and just from here follow the river all the way down. It's pretty cool. So we're doing a slip here. Yeah, I'm not sure about the flight dynamics, but normally a slip you tilt the airplane a little bit more. So let's try and straighten it up here. Yep, there we go. Almost on the center of the runway. Now we'll level out, lose some speed, keep our nose up there a little bit. That's it, come back to the center and set her right down here. There we go. Touchdown. So guys, I hope you have really enjoyed that video. That was Microsoft Flight Simulator World Update 3 and all of the great buildings that the Asobo team have created. I hope you like my channel. Please subscribe and click the notification bell, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.